Welcome to the Godcast. I'm Zui, and today we are discussing, did Constantine choose Christianity as the preferred religion of his empire because he was convinced of its truth, or because he believed it would cement his empire together under a common system of thought? And today we have Milena, Jacob, and Taz.
Hi. Constantine was a Roman emperor, and he basically adopted Christianity, and it's commonly agreed that he was a key factor in Christianity's growth.
Yeah, and the story of that's actually kind of interesting. He had a vision of the cross and went into battle, holding a Christian flag and painted shields with the cross. And he won that battle, and that convinced him of the righteousness of Christianity, and from that moment on he was converted.
But it's not clear to historians whether he, one, converted or not, and two, whether he adopted Christianity because he was convinced that it was the right thing to do, or because it had some political advantage or military advantage or something. Obviously, a lot of Christian historians believe that he converted to Christianity because he actually believed in it. But the problem is that shortly after he did that, he still behaved like he believed in multiple gods, especially because he built his own city and then also sponsored the buildings of statues and temples of multiple pagan gods, which was not in agreement with
And this then makes it seem like it was just a political move to gain the trust and devotion of his country and almost unite them. He ended persecution of the Christians, which created a much more peaceful environment in the inner workings of Rome.
Well, although by ending the prosecution of Christians, there were also persecution of other people also.
But you have to have your people trust you, and switch out that main part of life and government is not a good way to have the people's trust, belief, or faith in the system. And you have to have them believe in the system because it's the system that gives you power.
See, that's actually one interesting thing about the military, because by being convinced in the I don't know what the word is, sort of the realness of Christianity and how that's the right religion, he did that through in a battle. And by doing that, he probably was able to convince much of the military that was also true.
And the rest of his supporters too. Because
right. And if he now has him and his military, even if some people in the Senate disagree, he still has more power. You can't have a coup if you don't have any fighting, kind of.
That's fair, but are you really an empire if you have no one to rule? If your people disagree with you, you lost your power.
But I don't think that the simple fact of converting solely himself to a different religion meant that all of his followers disagreed. Everyone in the Roman Empire disagreed.
And I think we should keep in mind that although Christians were a minority, they weren't 2 people within a million.
Right.
There was
definitely
there's definitely different branches of churches and bishops with religious power who I think ended up supporting him because they agreed with what he said and stuff.
That's true, but it's a matter of intention. Because first off, again, you have to have your people have faith in the system. If your people don't have faith in the system, they don't have a system that they adhere to. If they know that there has to be a matter of how aware they are of how tumultuous their system is. If you're an unreliable ruler in that you do not remain consistent with what the people want and what their predecessors want and what most of the military and their supporters wanted before you changed your mind, then you can't have people who are going to adhere to the system because they will want a new system. So I think if he intended to unify his people through accepting Christianity, it was not well thought out. I think he got lucky if it was his intention. I do not think that it was his intention to unify his people because he already had a united people.
I think it's really interesting to note that the Roman Empire was obviously not a democracy, but it sounds like that you're saying even if you are the empire, and even if you do have a lot of power and control over your people, you still need to listen to their voice. So it kind of sounds like even in a dictatorship, there has to be some like aspects of democracy.
Okay, well, with that, I think we probably need to end. If you have any thoughts about whether Constantine did it as a religious act or as a political act, please talk to us about that.
Thank you. This is the Godcast.